All right, all right, all right. I believe our Sports Network. Welcome to our weekly podcast, 7:30. We got a special guest on tonight. He's been on before, and we're glad that he was so gracious to come back on tonight. A lot of things starting to heat up. It's summertime, and we're getting close to football. I'm going to announce a couple new sponsors. I think I looked today. It's crazy because all of a sudden, the Gator Bowl is over. We got like 238 days, and it just seems like it's so far out there. And all of a sudden, you wake up one day and we got 73 days, and I mean, less than 2.5 months. So it's coming up. And we'll talk a little bit about the orange and white. We're going to talk a little bit about some new sponsors. We'll talk about the baseball season that just ended, and then we'll bring our sponsor on and introduce him and talk about what he's got going on. So, anyways, a couple of new sponsors came on. The Tiger Football Pulse came on last week, and Levi is the owner of that. They're going to be doing some stuff with us as far as tailgating and stuff. Puppy Patch. I don't know. I did a video. I went in there. They go all the way to Ohio every Monday and Tuesday because they researched where to get the best puppies and all. But anyway, I don't know how I walk out of that place without bringing a puppy on. They came on board. Who else? We got a new golf place right on Lake Hartwell's coming on board here pretty soon. It's one of those where you play golf indoors. It's right there on Lake Hartwell. Going in football season, we're doing the live show for the Georgia game at the Clemson Marina live, and on the Friday night before, we're doing one at Vapor Nation over on Clemson Boulevard going into Anderson. We did the game last year, so they were the sponsor that renewed this year, and so that's as far as I know, as far as like sponsorship. I guess we'll kind of talk about the back end. We talked a little bit about baseball. It's over with, but what a ride that was. And we kind of let in there how basketball did, and then baseball really surprised a lot of people, new coach, and then we'll get into football. So,
I just want to say that
Rob?
I am super excited about this new baseball coach we have. He is like, in my opinion, the Dabo of football and baseball. Like, I mean, that playoff game where he's throwing his hands up, getting the crowd involved. I mean, you don't see coaches do that very often, especially a head coach. And I'm super excited for what he's going to be able to do for this team.
Yeah, I am too. That was a good.
I'm sorry.
We didn't end the way we wanted
that Florida beat us the way they beat us, but we had to pitch and hit. Simple as that.
Yeah,
that's what you got. That's what you got to do. What you have to do. I'm down here in Jacksonville, so I get to hear all about the Florida Gators, and it was self-defeating for me. No, I didn't make it up there. I wanted to, but I didn't make it up there. But I heard all about it. I watched it, and then I heard about it here on the radio. Different sort of angle when it's the Florida Gators giving their spin on it.
Yeah, those umpires I know kind of gave us a hard time, but in a sense, they were calling some bad calls both ways. But I just hate when the umpires kind of determine the outcome of a game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not just because we lost. I heard it on ESPN. I heard it on The Roar. That's all they talked about. It just the game. If you're going to lose, it needs to be lost fair and square. It had a bad taste in my mouth in that game. I hate to say, but so anyways, ended the basketball season on a better note than we thought we would. Baseball turned around from what it did last year. We got football coming up. We're looking forward to. I was actually over at Lakeside Lodge and talked to one of the gentlemen.
Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. It happens to him. It happens to us a little more often than normal, but so one of the things I am actually happy about having you back on, because if I remember correctly, you have a big thing on mental awareness for men. Is that correct?
Absolutely, focusing on men's mental health, but I think in a different perspective. I think from a narrative standpoint in the world, they're acknowledging it that men have issues, men have challenges. But I think for me, it's not only about the awareness and recognition; it's about what can we do differently. How do we get here, and how do we move forward?
I don't know. internet crash. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
That's
no
all right.
worries.
I'm over here.
But continue.
And I think that's the bigger
I
part
was
of it.
over at Lakeside Lodge, and they know Wayne. He's been going out there for a couple years, and they're going to see about maybe we can do a show there. So they're going to get back. I think they're really open to doing that. So I'm looking forward to that. I hadn't done that before, but I've seen it online. Golf team for a good cause. Supposedly, I've been nominated to be dunked this year, which is not a problem. I mean, it's going to be August. I have a bathing suit. Go ahead and dunk me. I dunk me all day long, so I'm good with that. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe Grayson, you can tell us a little bit about it because you've been there before.
Absolutely.
It seems what Wayne said, it's grown every year.
It continues to grow, and I think what's unique about it is the fact that the connection of athletes that seem to not be as relevant as it could have been, doing things that maybe Iptay couldn't do. They were bringing together athletes from former years that hadn't been back, that had maybe stayed away. They were coming back for this, and the initial essence was to honor some players, and it was to honor coaches. And I think there's a nostalgic part that goes with it because I think at the root of and the heart of most people, they love Clemson. And some people have left with a bad taste in their mouth. Some people have left with some personal disdain. But for some reason, this event that Buck has put together has kind of surpassed that. And I think this year is going to be absolutely an even more amazing group coming back and from different eras. You got guys from the 70s with Tree Rollins, and you got the 80s with us and Horace, and you got the 90s and the 2000s, and on to the current guys that are coming back and sharing their own experience, just as former Clemson athletes. So I think it's something unique and different, and I think the school likes it because it was something they couldn't do, but they like it just because we're back on campus. I think those are things that they really enjoy.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
race, right?
That's one of the things that I like is that you guys are getting, former players from a lot of basketball, a lot of football. But, with the way, Clemson's sports program has truly grown with, soccer now winning another national championship. Baseball is coming in and
softball,
softball's right up there. I'd love to see this orange and white weekend really grow and kind of expand into those other sports too.
Oh, it definitely will, but I think there's very little history there when it comes to now baseball. Obviously, Bill Spires is back on staff with the football team, and there's a bunch of great baseball in the '80s when I was there. I loved baseball. So there were some amazing guys. Yeah, Leggett's back. So there was a lot of good players that were there that we need to bring back. But again, the two main sports were always football and basketball. So I think starting there, but softball's brand new. We didn't have softball when I was here. We did have soccer, and getting the soccer team back with Eric Eichmann and Paul Retenis and Bernard Gray and all those guys, reaching out to them. Again, that was an era that Buck didn't know, so we're helping him kind of reach out to those guys. And the other part of it too, life gets in the way. And so many people are doing their own thing. And to pick and choose where they come back. Do I come to Orange and White weekend or do I go to my son's AAU game? I mean, that's what it comes down to now, is making those choices. And I'd rather them be fathers than be fans. But I think that there are a lot of people that are looking forward to these weekends now, and they're penciling them in on the calendar and setting aside that time to come back and just celebrate each other. Having Coach Ellis back and Oliver, and Clint Bryant, Danny Ford's always there, and I would love to bring back some more coaches. And now with Sammy and those guys retired, I believe there'll be guys that'll come back and be a part of it. And I think bringing some of the newer kids in to this whole fold will help continue to grow this as well.
Yeah. And, we talked to Wayne Buckingham last week, and, it's always fun to talk to him. He's a great guy. And I love what he's trying to do with this Orange White program. And I'm so excited to be able to be part of it this year. I think me and, Josh are, we've got a golf team that we're trying to put together and come down there and enjoy the weekend. So, yeah, I'm super excited about this year.
And it's not just there's a gala, there's an event, but there's also a tailgate on the first night. It's just real relaxed. We're playing cornhole, we're doing everything, and folks are just kind of hanging out and tailgating in the parking lot.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
a real fun thing. And then to have the gala the next day, just the way it's been put together, and then the golf tournament on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a fun weekend all the way around. Like I said, the more people that come and the more people that participate, the more it will become a staple in the alumni calendar. When we say,
Yeah.
hey, we want to go, we need to go, and then ultimately, hopefully, that it expands, like you said, to a space where it's a whole weekend. I mean, maybe we have two flights of golfing, and we got a women's flight, the men's flight. I mean, I see all those things happening because of the love of sports and because of the love of our alma mater. So I think all
Yep.
those things are definitely in the mix.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to that. And when Josh kind of got cut out, I know we were talking about something, and I really want to touch on that because, unfortunately, about a week ago, one of my dearest and longest friends, um, took his life, and it's been really tough. And I really would like to get some more information on the program that you have because I'd really like to kind of help people that that was going through that. And um, you know I it's a program that I really would like to get on board with because you know kind of experiencing this firsthand, and finding out from that one of my closest best friends was dealing with something that I didn't even know he was really dealing with.
And that, that's so typical. The program is called Healing the Hurt Men Hide. And men just seem to, by nature of narrative, by machismo, by world standards, we're supposed to just suck it all up. We're supposed to just wear it, and what we realize is that it's a lot for us to bear. It used to be
Yeah.
one thing upholding a family, but now you're holding a societal narrative that's bent on emasculation. Men don't have a safe space to really do that because if they share from their heart, now they're labeled soft. So there's a whole lot of things that men just don't want to go do. But the hurt is an acronym, and the H in the hurt stands for ask for help. The first thing we ask them is you got to ask for help. Forget about what people think about you, what they might say about you. You got to actually ask for some help. The U in that acronym is understanding. Men have to get a better understanding of how they even got there. Why are we even in this place?
Yeah.
We have to really get some truth when it comes down to the narratives in the world, the movements in the world that were that appeared to be bent on something else, but they were bent on the destruction of the family. And I can't destroy the family unless I can destroy the head of the family. So you got to get some understanding. That's the U. The R is we got to rewire. We got to now readjust some of the belief systems that we have. We got to start changing some of our associations, some of our circles. We got to reprogram the way we believe we should have been. And for a lot of men, it's getting back to a faith-based foundation. It's getting back to God. It's getting really back to those things without being churchy. It's really about getting back to that place of submission and letting God lead you. And then the T is trust.
Yeah.
Men have a hard time trusting each other. They just do, for whatever reason. And this is why the love of sports is such a great thing because it used to literally create that whole environment for you. But now transfer portal has changed that. Now we can't trust anything anymore. The one thing we used to be able to trust, we can't trust anymore. So when you look at asking for help, getting better understanding, learning to rewire and readjust, and then really building a level of trust, we really have been able to deal with men that are hurting. And it's been amazing to see them come full circle and share where they are. Actually have a men's conference this weekend here in Jacksonville, and that's the focus is just men. It's
Yeah.
really empowering men again, and that's my heart's been about, and that's what it's going to continue to be about.
Well, my friend was one of those guys that he would go out of his way to make you
Hmm.
happy,
Absolutely.
but never really let someone know that he needed the help too. And you know, I, and that's why I'm like, I remember, when we last talked to you, I was like, man, I need to get his information because I really want to, start promoting that a lot more because, man, this hit me like a ton of bricks when
Hmm.
I was informed of what happened. And it's been tough. Day by day gets better, but I mean, it's sometimes I just don't understand. And one of our other closest friends, me and him have been talking a lot lately, and I've kind of remembered your thing from the last time we talked and had you on the show. And I was telling him, I was like, we got to talk, brother. We got to talk. Just you talk to me, I talk to you.
But I think we do understand. I really do. I don't think it's that we don't understand. I just think that we never feel like it's going to get to that space. We know, I mean, every man in this world knows what their pressure is like, whether that is a physical issue you're facing, whether that is a financial issue you're facing, whether it's a parental issue that you're facing, whether it's, a standard of living that you have to address, whether it's losing your job. I mean, there's so many things that men have to contend with. So it's not that we don't know it. I think we have this built-in resilience, and we think at times, and everybody else believes that we're Superman. They don't think we can ever be hurt or in pain, and I think we wear that as a badge of honor sometimes.
Yeah.
When we become true providers, you are concerned about everybody else before you, and men decide to put themselves second, and it usually results first in our physical health, and then in our mental health, and that's where it goes. So I really believe it's important to do those things. That's why eating healthy and working out and staying in some sort of uh, insistence that you be first. I mean, one of
Yeah.
the things I talk to men about is taking time for you, and for most of us, taking time for us is our decompress. It's going to have a beer or going to no. You gotta take some time for you. You have to make yourself important. And I think one of the things that we have that I really share with them is that it doesn't work unless you're working right. So I think that's what we have to understand is that this thing only works right when you work right,
Yeah.
and you have to really be that. But the value of the man has been so reduced. Men are having to fight with sometimes their female counterparts on who's the leader, and when you have to do that, men get emasculated and reduced.
Yeah.
And this isn't a victim cry me a river, pour me. No, that's reality. And we teach them how to deal with reality, talk to it, but it doesn't have to be a reality. Just
Yeah.
because it looks like that doesn't mean it has to last like that. And so those things are important. But again, for me, it's really taking them back to their biblical responsibility, their biblical accountability, and that's what it is for me. So anybody that deals with our program is going to deal with faith as a non-compromising, or a it's a non-condition. We don't even debate there. That
Yeah.
starts it, and that begins it. That's never a point of contention. This is where we start.
Now you said you have something that you're doing in Jacksonville coming up.
Yep, we start this weekend. So during COVID, we started a men's fellowship online, and it's called Three Times the Man, and it comes from Exodus chapter 34, where God told the men if they would meet 3 times a year, He'd bless their family. So we started doing it 5 in the morning every morning for the first year, and then we pulled back off it a little bit and only do it 2 days a week now. So Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock, tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, and Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. We have an online men's fellowship that ranges anywhere from 20 to 45 people, and literally it's a men's accountability group, and we've always said that we're not a brand, but a band of brothers in pursuit of the kingdom of God, and it's a safe place to have difficult conversations. And we talk about everything. And it's been a saving grace for so many men to be able to wake up and get on a call where they're, number one, they're men of God that are praying, but number two, there's conversation that challenges you to be better without any sort of prejudice, without any sort of issues. This is what we're going to talk about, and we're going to get to it, and we're going to realize that the end all be all is what our belief system is about, and the Bible,
Nice.
and we're going to go there. So it's been really amazing. So we have our first face-to-face conference after we started 3 years ago this weekend, right here in actually in Callahan, Florida. Evangel Temple. Evangel Temple has a site that on the lake, and so we're going there. We'll do some fishing and cornhole,
Okay.
and it's gonna be just an awesome time. We're gonna share. I get to facilitate it, so it's gonna be awesome for 2 days
I like
to
I like
facilitate
that
that.
idea. That's
It's
nice.
gonna be
I
fun.
like that.
Mhm.
Now,
It's
do
gonna be
you
fun.
ever come up to the Clemson area and do anything around there?
Absolutely, we did the event up there when I was there last year. We're probably gonna try to do one every single year. up there. We're just trying to pick the right weekend to get um, the attendance that we want.
Yeah.
Clemson is you got to pick and choose when you get there because there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
And again, men don't prioritize it, so we find other ways to relax as opposed to dealing with ourselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, all those things are part of it. And this is what I mean about men taking time for themselves. When are you actually going to do that?
Yeah.
And they usually say, "Oh, I'll do it when my kids get older. I'll do it when my kids get out of the house." And then we've always given this time frame down the road, and we don't realize that the longer we wait, the harder it is for us to really get to a place of us being significant again and having real meaning that we can see as well as other people see.
Well, I can't say enough. I really appreciate what you're doing because, like I said, the last time we talked, I remembered it and I was like, you know what, I like what this is going. But then when it's like hit close to home, it's resonated a lot more. And
Absolutely.
I've done a lot of thinking in the last past week, and it's my eyes have opened up wide, and it's making me check on friends that I've not talked to in a while.
That's why I said the understanding is that when something happens, it brings us to a new level of awareness, a new level of accountability. But this is me. I'm the assist guy.
Yeah.
I just know how to get people to that next level. I know how to make everybody else look good, and that's why it just fits for me. And
Yeah.
making sure that men see the true essence of themselves, regardless of what they think they see or should be or have been in the past.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, and I
Thank you.
mean, I applaud you, standing ovation. I think what you're doing is just phenomenal, and I hope that if only two people watch this podcast, I hope it touches their heart and really opens it up to go
Amen.
do something.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's actually a little group in Anderson. They're called Dude Chat. Sanchez Neely and Brock Anderson and Gotek. They actually kind of started their own Dude Chat, and I ended up coming, and now we kind of partnered, and now they're doing their own thing every other Thursday night. So I've turned men on to them. They meet in Anderson at the public library every other Thursday night upstairs, and they got 15, 20 guys that come, and it's a neat little thing. But they started their own kind of chapter there, and when they first had their first couple meetings, I happened to be in town, and we ended up doing something for them there, and then we had an event at a hotel in Anderson that they put together too. So it's been awesome. So it's starting to grow, and we're excited about that.
Cool.
Well, also talking about the last time we talked was right before Clemson played Kentucky in the bowl game,
Mhm.
and I think you were going down to the game.
Absolutely.
What'd you think about what you saw when you were there?
Obviously, always when there's Tiger fans in town, it's a great place to be. Enjoyed the game. I was actually with with oh my God, why am I forgetting? Oh, he's gonna be new president Ibte. He's gonna kill me. Uh, oh my
It's one
God.
of those things. It's always on the tip of your tongue, and then
Oh my
you
God.
walk away, and then you're like, "Oh, that
I'm
guy."
pissed. He's married to Cliff Ellis's. He's married to Cliff Ellis's daughter. Oh my God. This is really bad. Don't hope nobody's watching this. Um,
I mean, my internet's been in and out.
oh,
I'm
I'm
usually not
so.
at Clemson on
Oh,
Tuesday, but
oh my goodness.
you don't think about it when you don't try to think about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. So I was able to hang out with them, and this is really pissing me off right now. Oh,
I have those
no,
moments
you know,
myself.
I thought it. What I thought of the game was obviously it was a great win. I hope that Cade can play this coming year like he played the last drive, because he really looked like a big time quarterback in that last drive. I do believe that I love Dabo's decision to stick to what he feels about building his program and not kind of buying into what everybody else does. I love that. Um, but I think that we are going to be we're going. I think the expansion of the tournament is going to be a big thing for us because I think it puts us in a good face.
Yeah.
It gives us a chance to bounce back if we do bump early. But I think we're poised. I think the fact that people aren't putting us in the mix is a wonderful thing. We can still lurk outside it, but I think we're good enough to obviously win the ACC again. I think we're good enough to vie for a national championship.
Yeah. Well,
I agree with
the one change that Dabo made in the offseason with the offensive line coach, that alone was, you know, instrumental.
Absolutely. And I think but
And
that Dabo continues to do that. Hey, where'd you guys go? Oh, there we go. Oh, his name is Rhett Rutland. Now I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Don't kill me, Rhett. Don't kill me, Rhett. Rhett Rutland. Oh my God. But yeah, no, I think Dabo. I think again, we're not hard to recruit to, whether you're a player or a coach. I think that if you're a coach and you want to come, you look at who he's put into head coaching jobs over the last 4 or 5 years. Um, Tony Elliott, Brett Venables. I mean, the list goes on and on. Chad Morris. They've all left here and gone on to do great things in other places. Now, whether their winning was the same, no, but to be promoted to a head coach, this is a beautiful place to be. I just hope we hold on to Nick Eason for a little while longer, because he's poised to go somewhere else. And I think that again, the attractiveness of the program isn't just for the players; it's for coaches, it's for administrations, for anybody who wants to be a part of a family and a team and a winning culture.
yeah. And like I said, you know, the 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 new offensive line coach basically came in right before bowl game. And I mean, I saw a difference. Maybe it was just a rejuvenation of energy. I don't know. But I saw a complete difference in the offensive line just in that bowl game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go to the
Mm-hmm.
spring game, and yeah, they gave up maybe a sack here and there, but would it have been a sack if the rule of the spring game wouldn't have been in play?
Yeah.
But I saw a difference in just the offensive line there too. So I think that's going to be the key to this 2024 season is that offensive line. I don't know if you made it up for the spring game or not and saw it in person, but I was there. I saw it in person. Obviously Pierman was the star of the show in the quarterback
Mm-hmm.
realm, but you know, it's hard to judge the spring game when you have all your starters all mixed up playing on
Absolutely.
different sides.
you. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
Well,
with
I think that the spring game just shows the depth of who we are, and it gives everybody who's a fan reason to be okay with no matter what happens, because things happen, injuries happen, all kinds of things happen, and we got to know that we're deep enough to do that. But I think that having a running game like we're going to have this year, it'll be different from having Ship back there. But Mafa is a different kind of running back. He's a downhill running back. I think that it allows play calling to be different when you really believe you can get that 1 or 2 yards whenever you want to. That
Oh yeah.
changes the whole dynamic.
yeah,
It brings play
Yeah.
action into play, and we have some threats outside that'll do some things. So I think those make a difference. It makes Cabe a better quarterback if
Oh yeah.
play actions in his pocket. It's not good when he has to sit back there and really make decisions with the line breaking down. So I agree with you. Having a line right, but also having a good running game helps hold that rush off too. And
yeah,
we saw that in the last drive of the last game when we needed to go down and score, and every aspect
Yeah.
of it was there. Great passing, and then clutch running, and just taking the football and
yeah.
just run it down your throat.
Yeah,
You
we
know.
made some great plays in the spring game offensively, but man, defense.
Hmm.
Defense. It didn't matter if you had the starters on different sides or not. Both sides of the spring game defense were like shut down. Like they
And
were
they're
just amazing.
young. That's
Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah.
beautiful part about it.
exactly.
And they're young. That's what's awesome. And again,
Exactly.
I like the fact that we're on nobody's radar. I like the fact that they really don't know who Peter Woods is yet, or TJ
Yeah.
Brown. I'm glad they don't, because
They will know.
they about to find out in a big way.
They're
So
about to find
And
it's
out.
gonna be
and
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
you mentioned earlier about the expansion of the playoff.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to sit here and say, well, Florida State and the whole ACC is now in this whole turmoil, lawsuit, whatever. You know, Florida State, in my opinion, was absolutely gypped on going to the playoffs. But
most
the
definitely.
second that they were denied and going to the playoffs, what happened? Half the team opted out or transferred. When most of that team were already transfers in. So that kind of shows you how the portal is in my opinion working against teams. You got, and that's why
Oh,
I'm an
absolutely.
advocate for Dabo on not going to the portal. I'm a full supporter
Well,
with Dabo not
I'm
going to
an
the portal.
advocate. I believe that because of the nature of the beast, I understand business, and the business now and always will be winning. So we're going to have to continue to do that. I definitely see going to the portal for depth. There's no two ways about it. I really believe you grow your homegrown guys in those positions, but
Yeah,
I think depth is there. The challenge that exists here now is number one, if I'm a business guy, do I go get a 17, 18-year-old I got to develop or a 21-year-old who's been playing college football for 2 or 3 years? From a business standpoint, that's the
Yeah.
guy that's there because he brings that maturity to the table. So
yeah,
I believe that this not only is hurting the teams themselves, but it's hurting the development of young players because now they're being looked over and passed over because of a veteran guy. Now you talked about FSU. Again, let's talk about the business of it. There was no way that the committee was going to send a third string quarterback out to the granddaddy of all bowl games. It wasn't going to happen. I believe the one who really got screwed over was Georgia. Because Georgia hadn't lost a game in 2 years. They lose the SEC championship game and they go from 1 to 5. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
again,
I mean, I'd agree with that.
you know
I'd agree with
that's
that.
and that's my thing again. Somebody one undefeated team is going to lose out. If it had gone the other way, Washington was not going to be in there. That was just it was going to happen. The
Yeah,
fact of the matter was that game decided it, and when Georgia lost, that shook the whole thing up. And I told everybody who was here in town, I said FSU's not going, undefeated or not, they're not going because they're dealing with that. I said Texas
yeah,
has already beaten Alabama, so they're going to be in. I
yeah,
said it's blue bloods. That's why
Yeah.
you and I both know that in a couple of years this will be two. It'll be a two conference league. It'll be the Big Ten and the SEC, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to look like a mini NFL. There's going to be 32 teams. They're going to be East and
Mhm.
West. And my biggest concern for college sports is how do the teams that have been utilizing the revenue share off of their conference, who no longer will be getting that, can they still field teams?
yeah,
Because the games aren't going to ticket sales, the games are going to streaming, and nobody's going to stream
Yeah.
Wake Forest against Ole Miss. They're not going to do it. So how do they
Mhm.
get the money? How do those teams how does Vanderbilt put a team out anymore? They don't. And I believe all of those have become club sports again, just like they were back in the day. And
Mhm.
you'll have your mini NFL, which is what I believe they're looking for, and
yeah.
it just spells the end of amateur sports
College.
the way that
We
we've
knew
seen
it.
it in the
Yeah.
past.
Which I hope
Coming
it. I
business.
really hope we never get to that because I love the pageantry, the traditions, the
Oh
the
yeah.
excitement around college,
Camaraderie. Oh yeah.
the
Nothing
camaraderie.
like it.
Yeah, yeah, all the above. And
That
I just
I think that used to be because we could watch teams and players grow from their freshman year till they left. I mean, literally, I'm looking at my Clemson Tiger basketball team. We got 6 new faces. There's only
Mhm.
12 team. There's only 12 people on the freaking team, and we got 6 new ones. I mean, this is what
Yeah.
now becomes the standard. Is like it's unbelievable. That was never the when I went in as a freshman, and I went in the locker room with those guys. We planned on being there together until it was over. That was
yep,
the
Yeah.
plan when you walked in, and
Yeah.
you weren't worried about
Definitely.
somebody transferred if they got hurt. Somebody transferred if they just weren't getting any playing time, but they weren't just going because they felt like leaving. I mean, when you have leading rushers in conferences transferring to go play somewhere else, come on, it's getting ridiculous.
yeah,
DJ
Yeah.
Uyunglele is at his third school
Yeah.
in 3 years. You know what I mean?
Don't
It's
play
just
them this year.
I mean, the loyalty that we talk, the loyalty that we talk about, the camaraderie, the guys that you just expect the
Yeah.
pageantry.
It's
How can
changed.
you have pageantry when a kid's been at 4 different schools? Where's his loyalty? Where's his
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
It's just
None. I
it's
agree with
so
you.
much of that that's gone, and it takes away from what we used to love as a purity. March
Yeah,
Madness, whether you were a basketball fan or not, used to bring non-basketball fans to basketball, right? Because
Yeah.
you could follow those teams. Well, now because of transfer portal, you don't even know who the good teams are anymore. Who the guys
right.
you
Yeah.
used to root for, they're not there anymore. You got all these other teams that are there, and then will they be there next year?
Yeah.
You
Well, and
know,
that's why I hate the preseason rankings on college football. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like you shouldn't rank a team until they've played about midways to the season. I mean, and I say midway only because a lot of teams are playing like the mediocre teams until their conference starts. Then they get into the conference, and
Mhm.
everybody wants to say, "Well, the SEC is the best." Blah blah blah. Like right now, they're showing right now that like 6, 7 teams are having the hardest schedule. But if you look at their schedule, it's only hard because of who they're playing within the conference.
Conference, correct, correct.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, Florida supposedly has the hardest schedule of the year. South Carolina has another hardest schedule of the year. Well, again, it's because of who they're playing inside the
Right.
conference
Mhm.
because they're already preseason ranked in the top 15. You shouldn't rank a team until the season gets going.
Well,
And
Vegas has to have you rank them. You all come on. This
Yeah.
is business. This is
It
this
is
is
business.
about
Vegas
this
is
is
playing with money.
business. This is
And when it's
about
money, they don't
Vegas.
play around.
Absolutely. This is about Vegas. This is
They got
about
Georgia pretty ranked number 1. So
yeah.
we're gonna find out real fast how good we
And,
are.
and, and I, we are. And
And I don't have a
but
problem with
that's why
that.
I believe that you got to beat everybody to win anyway. So bring them on. But I
Yeah, what
think
I
that
don't
when you look at
understand,
the business part of
we
it,
played the Citadel like at the end of the year, so that was kind of
mhm,
weird. But we're starting off right. I think Georgia and Clemson ought to play more often. I mean, you got the powerhouse here in South Carolina. It's a great rivalry.
well,
absolutely.
it's
I think we
always
ought to
been a
play
great
every year.
rivalry, but unfortunately,
We just don't play enough.
with the scheduling of the way the games are, it's like, well, we kind of schedule these games like 5 and 6, 7 years out. It's.
Yeah,
But I will
Absolutely.
say
and they're
they already
playing
have
it.
us a 13-point underdog right now. So
That's what I saw.
And,
And
and
play at
that's it.
Clemson, playing in Georgia. I mean, they're playing at the Bank of America Stadium. Now they're playing at Mercedes-Benz. Keep it even. Play home field like they used to back in the day. But I guess that's all come down to money and TV rights. And,
And that's
you know,
everything. That's
you
everything it
really don't
comes
want to
down
go to
to.
the yeah, who wants to go up to Charlotte or Atlanta? You'd rather be at, go down to Athens if you're a Georgia fan or Clemson fan, or play at Death Valley. So that's all where money and
yeah,
all and TV rights
I'm
are
not a
taking
big
over.
fan of the whole
I don't,
neutral site deal, but
no,
But
it's
that's
never
not
really
for
neutral.
that's
Atlanta's
not
not
for
neutral.
that's not for the fan. That's for that's for the
That's money.
that's not for the team fan. That's for the national fan.
yeah,
That's for the national
Yeah,
advertisers. That's what that's for. And again,
yeah,
this is the sad part
that's
about
exactly
it. But
right.
we have to r- just be honest with you. It is just business. It is that. I mean, even with my alma
Yeah,
mater, when you look at Clemson, to get to the Final Four, you had to make sure that schedule was as unblemished as it could be. So you did schedule a
yeah,
certain way.
yeah.
Now we just happen to be
yeah,
good enough on top of that schedule to do it. But now that's going to probably go out the window because when you start going to, and I really believe it. I don't believe it's going to be 4 years before they're in the two conferences. I just don't believe it because I believe there's too much money in the streaming, and they're setting you up
yeah,
now where it's streaming live on Peacock, streaming live on Hulu, streaming live on
yeah,
YouTube.
and
They're
all,
setting you up with it because ultimately you're
yeah.
gonna have to pay for access to all this stuff.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
just what it's coming
Well,
down to.
they just recently
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you.
NCAA just recently ruled that now the colleges are going to have to start paying the players themselves.
I saw
The,
that.
on,
Yeah,
the
that
only
came a
way you
couple
can
weeks
do
ago.
that, the only way you can do that is with a salary cap, which means it's
Yeah,
going to look like the NFL because you can't. You the money that certain schools have, like Texas A&M, they got more
yeah,
money. Arizona State's
yeah,
got one of the largest alumni in the entire world. Now all of a sudden they become a player because of the money.
yeah,
Come on, it's
yeah.
just
That's going
this
to
is
change
what
everything, and that's not
absolutely.
going to be fair either. I mean, Texas
Mm-mm.
A&M's got a
No,
lot of money for what I see.
yeah, they do big time money, and so
And
now you're
the more
buying
money
teams.
you
That's
got, the
why.
more advantage you got.
which is why they're going to have to implement a salary cap. You're going to have
Yeah,
to.
you have to.
Well, I kind of feel like, the NCAA kind of got forced into this situation without really analyzing how this was going to really affect the whole layout of college football or college sports in general. And then, so they kind of went like, all right, we're going for it. Now they're already having problems. Like Florida State just got hit with a bunch of violations of NIL deals, all this kind of stuff. And I just feel like they needed, yes, I felt like NIL should have always happened, but I feel like there should have been a way to make this happen without it causing issues that it's causing now. Now you got players or teams, coaches trying to poach from other teams, as they call it. Like it's kind of getting ridiculous and a little out of hand.
It's
But
become a
here's
business. Yeah.
yeah, but here's the deal with NIL, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. As a former player, the the need for them to get some sort of compensation stipend when they're at school is definitely important. But if you and I go right now into the Clemson bookstore, if we go to Ibrahim's, we go to any of those, how many jerseys are you going to find in there? You're going to find five jerseys. There are going to be five players that you'll see Moffa's jersey, you'll see Cabe's jersey, you're not going to see the backup offensive lineman's jersey in
No,
there.
Right,
Name,
no.
image, and likeness is only going to apply to a few people anyway.
right.
You're making an issue that should be a non-issue, but what you're doing, I told somebody this today. Athletes when they graduated from college used to not be in debt. Now they're going to be in debt with this money.
Yeah,
Shiloh Sanders already filed bankruptcy for issues with NIL when he was at Jackson State. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
this is already beyond ridiculous. So when you look at the essence of what this is, you're creating an animal that's really going to reduce the the athlete even lower. I've got 28, 29-year-old guys that can't manage the money they get. I'm going to give it to a 17, 18-year-old to manage. It's crazy. I still, to this day, gentlemen, don't understand the business model. I don't understand how you can give millions of dollars to people with no performance contract attached to it.
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
let's look at the top 10. Let's look at the top 5 NIL earners last year. Number 1 was Bronny James, averaged 4.23 points a game and got almost $5 million a year in NIL money. Number 2 was Shador Sanders, who
Yeah.
got 4 million. Number 3 was the gymnastics girl from LSU. Number 4 was Caitlin Clark. Number 5 was Arch Manning at 3.1 million, and he never got off the knot. So this isn't about the best players. It isn't about giving them money. It's about moving marketing needles.
yeah.
That's all it's about. So
And
when
you
you know what I
you hit
mean?
a point with Caitlin Clark. I mean, yeah, I think she's a great player and all, but she has become one of the biggest marketing things. Like right now, like I kind of just scroll through Facebook and all I find is this, what's her name from LSU versus her now. Like that's all I yeah,
Angel Reese, and
Angel
Caitlin
Reese.
Clark. But see, here's the deal. That has nothing to do with sports. That's everything to do with the social agenda. Let's continue to divide people because of race. Herein lies the problem. This is not anything to do with anything more than marketing and agenda. That's all it is. Division and social issues, they want to remain prevalent in the world today because it continues to divide the population.
Yep.
And if they continue to divide us, there's no solidarity. So the bigger picture never gets looked at right because we're focused on little stuff that's meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're both great players, but I'm not understanding this whole like, where did this rivalry come from all of a sudden?
I can make whatever rivalry I want if I touch the emotional heartstrings of whoever. So as
Yeah,
long as race is an issue in the media, it'll be an issue everywhere. So I'm
true.
gonna make this a black and white issue so it can have some legs and I can use it however I want to use it. And it takes away from the play. It takes away from the game. Nobody's even talking about how they play anymore. They're talking about what's going on, whether it's cheap shots or whether it's good basketball. This is
Yeah,
where we're at now. It's not. We've gotten away from all the things that were the good parts about the game and the good parts about their talent. Nobody's even talking about their ability to play anymore.
yep, makes sense.
It's
Now,
sad about that.
talking about basketball though, the last time we talked, Clemson's basketball team was kind of like up, and then they were down, and they were up. But they get down to what was it? Elite Eight. What was your thoughts on that?
They, again, when you look at our basketball team, they played with a lot of energy. They played with a lot of enthusiasm, but they didn't really play smart. They did not allow the game to be what they needed to be. They wanted to make the game what it was. I love PJ. PJ is my guy, but I thought that at times he was playing for the next level than playing to win the game right there. He was playing to showcase his skill set for the next level. You can do that after this is over. There was a lot of things that I thought that we didn't do well. Brad and the coaching staff did a hell of a job, but there were some things that I just don't believe that we really did well down the stretch. We were taken out of some of our sets. Joe Girard became more of a liability down the stretch than an asset when it came down to it. But I do believe that they set the table for the fans in a different way. They got Chase coming back. Ian Shefflin is going to be a great player for him again this year.
And they got some big transfers in.
They
Yeah,
did,
I mean, we also got some attention for some people.
but
So.
they did, and they really put themselves on the map. But I think that again, the days of us building programs aren't there anymore. The days of finding a program to put on the floor is where we are now. Nobody should have to go recruit 6 new kids a year and re-recruit my same ones the next year. I mean, RJ Godfrey had a great year, but he wanted to start, and because the coach couldn't guarantee him a spot, he was going to transfer. I mean, this is where we got into. We got into where players are in it for what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
And if you can't no good coach guarantees anybody a starting spot. No good coach does that. So when that's your request, and it's going to be met with some opposition. Now that doesn't mean they don't want you. It's going to be met with some opposition. So I think that again, this is the nature and the temperature of college basketball. It's not just here. It's everywhere. We lose Josh Beadle. We lose Josh Beadle to Boston College, and Boston College is send their guard over here. It's like this is what we're doing now, but this more.
Yeah.
This looks more like the NBA. It looks more like trading.
It does.
Free agents. We send our guy over there. You send a free agent over here. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. And again,
College
for me,
sports is done.
I mean,
Absolutely.
same thing happened with our baseball team. We get to the super regionals, and then unfortunately we lose 2 games to Florida. As soon as that game's over, boom, two articles come out. This guy's has entered the transfer. This guy has entered the transfer, and I'm like, you just went to the super regionals.
Absolutely.
There's nothing to be ashamed of with the season. Why go to the portal? And I see that happen to a lot of teams.
Absolutely.
Get to this level, get to this, win a championship, whatever. Boom, out to the portal.
Again, the issues of sports that used to be sacred are no longer.
Yeah.
It is too easy to go find what you think is greener grass somewhere else, or what you think is greener grass, and now no longer is really about winning. It's about my opportunity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
If I think it's better than me, it used to be some pride in the school and some true essence of wanting to be part of a family and a brand. Again, that's why I love the way Dabo has treated all these kids and their essence and their inkling to come back. It's important when you have those things. But that's why Saban got out of the game. Saban said, I can't do it like I used to do it. These kids are coming to my office with agents and everything. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I've been in the game too long for this, But you're talking about the football. I don't believe AA has ever made a decision that was good for the anyway. To be honest with you, and I believe they were just a governing body that really had no opposition. And I think that when it's all said and done, they're going to hire Nick Saban as a new commissioner or whatever they're going to call that new league, and they'll be a completely separate entity.
Yeah.
I just believe that's where it's going to be.
I mean, with the result or the dissolve
I think that's the best business
of the Pac-12, I mean, I'm still shocked that the Pac-12 has, gone. But, seeing half the teams go to 10, half the teams go to the Big 12, some teams come to the ACC.
ACC, right.
I mean,
it's not,
you can't even really call it the ACC anymore when you have two teams that are from the West Coast and one from Texas.
absolutely, and I think that's why
geographically it doesn't make sense.
and all of those deals were made because of the existing TV contracts.
Exactly.
The ACC can't get money unless they have a certain number of teams in the conference.
Yeah.
And so Stanford and Cal get deferred payments, and SMU, they all get deferred payments before they make any money.
Yeah.
Then
they just had the whole thing.
It's all about money, and the overall scheme of things, it doesn't help us out. I mean, they're playing here at Death Valley this year. How many Stanford fans, besides the staff and all, is going to come over here to Death Valley? And how many people are actually going to fly out to California to see a game?
Well, Josh, I'm not. There probably will be some for football, but I know I'm not going to Stanford to watch Clemson girls softball. I know I'm not going to Stanford to watch.
You know what I mean? Game, that's a stretch to go out there during regular season.
Absolutely, but I'm saying and here's the other big part of it, guys. When you start moving the big teams to big conferences, the non-rev sports that used to live off of them, I don't know how you can still have Title IX when the money's not there like it used to be. I think women's sports are going to end up going back to being a club thing. I really do, because they're living just like the WNBA. They're subsidized by the NBA. They literally are losing $40 to $50 million a year. You can't stay around unless someone else is funding that bill.
Yeah.
And I believe that the success of college sports at the highest levels has always benefited women's sports. And if you remove those teams, you're not going to have the leftover money that is dispersed throughout the conference to support some of those programs.
And we talked about this a second ago about the Caitlin Clark and
Angel Reese.
I don't know why I cannot remember her freaking name. It's like driving me crazy. But Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, this whole rivalry, I almost feel like, has that gotten started to try and generate that, hey, let's go watch women's NBA now? Like, you know what I mean?
But that's what they want. But come on, at the end of the day, nobody's watching it. I mean, right now it's fun to watch and the hype is there, but it's still a bad product. I mean, when it comes down to entertainment value, now don't get me wrong, women are wonderful basketball players. When I don't have anything else to do, I'll turn them on. But if it comes down to a Sunday golf tournament or WNBA basketball, I'm watching golf.
Yeah.
And when men are the ones whose dollars are spent in the sports arena, you're not going to find the large portion of sportsmen that are going to opt for the WNBA over something else. That's just the way it is. I mean, again, that's not a knock on their sport. Their sport is their sport. But they have to realize that you do not draw the TV, you do not draw the arena, you do not draw the marketing dollars and the bandwidth that men's sports have. That's just the reality. Don't get mad about it. It's just what it is.
Yeah. And I'm not a big basketball fan. I'll watch it, and I don't even watch the men's basketball that much, but I'll watch it if it's like you just said a minute ago. Like if something else, if that's the only thing that's on at the moment, that's what I'll turn on. But I love watching women's softball. Like I literally truly love watching it. To me, it's just so exciting. The way the team are in the dugouts, the way they're chanting for their teammates out there. I love that. And I'd love to see a professional version of that. But then I feel like it'll get overshadowed by the MLB.
Well, and there's no doubt, but here's why people love women's softball, because men don't play it.
I do. I play every Sunday.
And I did too. I played ball, but it's not a competitive sport unless you're a man playing at that upper amateur level, right? Yeah. Girls grow up playing fast pitch softball, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's not what guys do. Guys aren't playing fast pitch for the most part. So when you look at them, it's something guys aren't doing. You really got nothing to compare it to.
Right.
Softball is girls softball, and that's what it is. Different, even though it's the same element as baseball. But when you look at the WNBA, you compare it to the NBA. You just do. It's different than tennis or anything like that. Serena stood out. It is you compared them to those things. Now, that's another sport where women were able to stand out and earn their own keep on their own. And they were
Right.
able to match and build their own following in that space. I think women's
Yeah.
golf for a time was like that as well, right? But I think
Well, I
that
mean,
that
women's golf is
game,
starting to get there with Nelly Korda and the way she's bringing a lot of
absolutely,
excitement.
absolutely. But again, you're talking about a different sport. And I think golf in and of itself, because of the sport that it does garner some attention from men. It just really does. I think
Yeah.
when you look at the
Yeah.
sport, basketball is an athletic sport. And if watching girls that aren't athletic like the men, it's a different sport.
It's a
The
different
things
sport.
that
Men and women.
sensationalize the sport for men, women don't do.
Yeah.
Women aren't going to go dunk every other play. It's just not going to happen.
No, they're not.
So the
They're
person,
different.
so the absolutely, so the person who looks at the NBA marvels at what they can't do. I can't do that, so that's why they're in
Yeah.
awe of it, right? But when you
Yeah.
look at the women's game, even though women will wear you out and they play well, and twisted. Some 40-year-old guys go out there, the woman will whoop you behind. But when it comes down to athletically and physically, they're just not the same. I think that we've tried. I think society and me so hard to try to make it that way. Look at the women's soccer. You look at Megan Rapinoe and them talking about reserve. They got beat by a 15-year-old national team of guys. Why? Because they're just a different animal.
Yeah.
These men. No matter how good you are, you're not men, ladies. I love women's sports. I do. I absolutely do. And don't have a problem with it. But at the end of the day, like I'll be locked into the gymnastics. I'll be locked in for the. I love Clemson gymnastics.
Yeah.
Those are things because yes, men do it, but not like the women do. So I get excited doing that because I love what they do. My daughter grew up, doing gymnastics. So you really marvel at some, you don't see a lot of guys doing. So that makes it intentionally different. But I
Yeah.
think that the element as we know it of college sports, amateur sports is changing.
Yeah, I was actually watching women's synchronized diving last night, and I guess
I was
it's a
watching just now
qualifier
before I
for
got
the
on.
Olympics.
I was watching just now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
I was
think it was
watching
a
it before we
qualifier
got
for the Olympics,
track and
but
field,
I
track
found
and
it
field, all those
fascinating.
things. Absolutely. Again, it's not something we take on every day. Let's look at the Olympics coming up. I'm going to be on women's track and field. I love the sprints. I love that. Not the men, but they run their own race and they run it their own, and they run it with their own volition and their own mindset. They're not in competition. I think the problem that we have in the Western world is everybody wants to compete.
Yeah,
And I think when you realize that it's to have your sport and be who you need to be in your sport, you don't need to be somebody else in somebody else's sport.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for the Summer Olympics to be coming on here shortly. So I always watch it. I always find it fascinating. I watch all aspects of it: gymnastics, the swim, whatever is going on in the Summer Olympics. I always watch it. Women, men, don't matter. I don't discriminate on that. I just love all sports in general. So I can't. I'm kind of excited to
And
see
even
the
though they're
Olympics
still
this year.
getting paid, me too. And even though they're getting paid now, it still comes off as amateur because of how they
Yeah.
train and because it's only every 4 years and they're giving their all every single time. That's just amazing.
Well, it's been fun to have you back on the show. I'm glad you asked us, or
Absolutely.
you accepted to come back on. I definitely want to get some information from
Absolutely.
you on your uh, men's mental health thing, so that I can try and help promote that. Any event that you got coming up, please send it out to the I Bleed Orange. I'd love to have that information out there because I love what you're doing.
Definitely.
And like
Yeah.
I said, thank you
We
again for
appreciate
coming
it.
on. I think the last time we talked,
I enjoy it. You guys are
you had
awesome.
mentioned how you're good friends with Travis Etienne, and I said that my son would love you for life. Ethan, come here real quick. He's been
So
sitting here watching.
Travis. I remember the interview Travis.
Yeah,
One of my favorite
Travis used to
bands.
live, so I'm here. Travis
Yeah,
used to live right there.
Rush is a band of mine. That's one of Travis's favorite bands. So that was pretty cool.
He is one of the biggest Travis Etienne fans you'll
Yeah.
probably ever meet.
Get him a signed shirt or something.
Get him some Jaguar. Get
Get him some
him
Jaguar
some
tickets.
uniform.
Oh,
I need him with a Jaguar hat on next
Get him
time.
some tickets down there in that pool down there. Don't go there.
He plays the Madden all the time, and he traded everybody on the Panthers team for Travis Etienne.
Hey, Travis is one of the most exciting running backs
You gotta love it.
ever to play at Clemson. He was something else. I love when he played.
Absolutely. And I believe he's going to have a breakout year.
That Travis Etienne would go play for the Panthers, but unfortunately they went to Jacksonville. So now I come up here and I find him playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars a lot on the Madden game. So
there you go. Well, look, they just backed up the Brinks truck for T-Law 16, boy.
Yeah,
they gave that joke $1 million a week, so he got no choice but to produce this year.
Yeah, exactly.
He doing kind of goodish.
Doing all right.
He is.
Well, glad to have you on, buddy.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Sorry, I had a little internet trouble, but
and I like I said, I applaud you for your men's mental health program and
what do you do your podcast? You do them in the morning, don't you? Kind of early.
Yeah, you know what? I just actually got picked by Soundville USA, so they put me on a monetized form. So
awesome.
we actually have a meeting on Tuesday for some new software, and I will release the new. So it's going to be talking BS, real versus real, and that's what it's going to be. So I'm excited.
I got to ask a question.
I'm probably going to do. I'm deciding to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
What's the
you
question?
Hear me? Well, there's BS. Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Is it what it stands for? Is it B? I mean, what we normally call BS? It is? Huh?
No, it's not. I think that I love people that get that first takeaway. But no, it's building self. It's about building synergy.
Self. Okay,
any positive words that use BNS are about build self, synergy, breaking strongholds, and it deals with a positive BS is there. But when people see BS, it gives them a reason to kind of tune in. And then
it gets their attention. So I was scratching my head. I knew it didn't stand for that, but I couldn't figure out what it stood for.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you cleared that up. That's cool.
No, building self.
You know, obviously, if I don't know if you're a member of the I Bleed Orange page or not, but you know, if you are, please feel free to post any information on the I Bleed Orange
in there. You can advertise in there.
You know, we will totally let that go through and try to help promote anything you got going on.
You always have, and I appreciate it, Josh. They've always done everything that I've shared over there. You guys have posted, and I just did it, so I'll continue to do it as well.
Awesome.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Well, Grayson, it was good to have you on, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Like I said,
all right.
Hit us up for anything new you got going on. We'll always bring you on to promote whatever you got going on.
You got it. We'll see you next time.
All right, buddy.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you. You there? You there?